host, Anna, and today I am sitting with Jane Hamon. Thanks for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So you and your husband, Tom, you guys are senior pastors at Vision Church in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida.
Yes.
So did you always know you wanted to be a pastor?
Well, actually, I was not raised in a church-going home.
Okay.
I got saved when I was 14. I got filled with the Holy Spirit when I was 16. And about a month after I got filled with the Holy Spirit, I was praying in my room one day, and the Lord said to me, the plans that you've made for your life are not the plans I've made for your life. Wow. I already had college, scholarships, roommates, the whole thing set up. The Lord said, instead of going to that school, you're going to go to Bible college. And when you get there, you're going to meet a man who's going to be your husband. And the two of you will be thrust into ministry at an early age. And I'm going to make you a team. And you're going to travel the nations of the world. Sometimes he'll preach, sometimes you'll preach, but you'll be a team. So
that's a lot to take on.
That was exactly what the Lord said to me.
Yeah.
And I said, Lord, can you show me somebody that's doing now what I'm going to be doing then? And he said, there's nobody doing now what you'll be doing then, because I'll be doing a new thing.
Amazing.
So I broke the news to my parents that this is my direction. Went off to Bible college, met my husband my first day on campus. I was 17 years old. We got married 2 years later, started our first church 2 months later. And the rest is history. We've traveled all over the world, and sometimes he preaches, and sometimes I preach, and we've been a team. So it's been quite an amazing journey. We've been pastoring in Florida now for this will be our 30th anniversary, coming up in January. But our ministry is a lot more than just pastoring. We do travel a lot throughout the world into the nations.
Wow. So you've been in ministry for 35 years.
Yes.
You've gone to over 60 nations.
That's correct.
So what's one place that you've traveled to that has the biggest impact on your life?
Wow. That's a big question.
Yes.
When you've been
to so many
different places.
Yeah.
Well, I remember that we were actually in London the day that the bombs went off back in 7/7/05. And that was a tremendous, tremendous time to be in a nation when they were in a place of crisis, and when there was so much stirring going on. The entire city of London kind of shut down. And we continue to just draw people in to pray, draw people in to teach them, to hear the voice of the Lord. Our ministry, Christian International, really emphasizes teaching people how to hear the voice of the Lord. And when you're in a nation like that during a time of crisis, believe me, people want to know, wow, what is God saying? How are we going to handle this in our nation? How are we going to deal with this? And so it was a phenomenal, phenomenal turning point, I think, for the nation. But it was a great time to see what God was doing in the land.
So I have to ask you, I was reading that you're a self-proclaimed Weather Channel addict.
Yes.
What is that? Can you tell me about that?
Okay, so I love the Weather Channel.
Okay.
When I get to a hotel, that's the first thing I do is put on the Weather Channel.
Really?
My dad was a meteorologist.
Okay, so that makes
I was
sense.
raised in the home of a meteorologist, of course, a long time before there was a Weather Channel.
Sure.
And I've always loved weather. And then it's been a real interesting, exciting thing to watch how God actually has the power to change weather. We live in Florida where there's hurricanes, and there's been times that we've prayed and we've watched God shift the track of a hurricane, or we've watched the Lord break a drought. I can remember one time prophesying that God was going to break a drought, and I prophesied that God would do it that week. And I went home and turned on the Weather Channel, and they said, there's no rain in sight. But I had to know that that's what the Lord said. Each day I went back and listened again, and each day something had shifted. And by the end of the week, we had a drought-breaking rain, over 20 inches of rain. So
cool.
it was very exciting. But I love the Weather Channel.
Sure.
I don't know what it is about it, but I just love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so last question for you. So if you could invite any biblical character other than Jesus, let's say, to dinner, who would it be and why?
Okay. Can I give you an Old Testament and a New Testament?
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
That is okay. We can do that.
So in the Old Testament, I'd love to sit down and chat with Deborah.
Okay.
When I was coming up in ministry, there weren't a lot of women in ministry, and Deborah became my hero. She was a warrior chick. She was tough. She was a leader. She was a prophet. She heard the voice of God. She was a worshiper. And I would just love to know what it was like at that time in history. To be a woman that was leading a nation. To me, that's just a phenomenal, phenomenal example to us. And in the New Testament, I would love to sit down and talk with John. John
That's
was
a good
Jesus'
one.
beloved. He put his head on Jesus' breast, and he was very, very close to him. But he was also the revelator, and so he also had that phenomenal encounter out of which he wrote the book of Revelation. And to understand and kind of pick his brain a little bit. He also ended up in Ephesus at the end of his life, and Ephesians is one of my favorite books. So I would love to hear a little bit about what was going on in Ephesus at that time, and understand his heart for the Lord. So
good choices for sure.
Great. Great.
Thank you guys so much for watching Up Close today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to watch more videos like this one, and we'll see you next time.